Our hearts were all born fine, but then when Brittany was born, her heart was born different.
I was pregnant with my second daughter.
There was no sign of anything wrong, no sign of anything out of the ordinary, and we felt as prepared as ever, being our second child.
2 weeks before my due date is when COVID hit. I started working from home. He started working from home. Our 6-year-old's daycare was closed. My water broke on March 28th, 2020. Dropped my older daughter off at my parents' house, did our final hug as a family of 3. And I remember telling Paige that we would see her in a few days. When you're in labor, they put the 2 heart monitors on your belly. They want to monitor your heart rate as well as the baby's heart rate. And I noticed that the labor and delivery nurse started to seem very frustrated after only a few minutes of her hooking me up to these monitors. And she kept moving the one around on my stomach. And then she said, you know what? I'm not getting an accurate read on the baby's heart rate. About 10 minutes later, she comes in and she goes, so I consulted the perinatalogist. We're going to an emergency C-section. And I said, can I call my mom and just let her know? And she said, no. She said, you don't have time. 10:40 a.m. was when we first checked in. She was delivered via emergency C-section at 12:07. They weigh her and she's 9 pounds even. And they're doing all of the tests like on her now that she's out. And they're like, well, she's having some breathing issues. So they took her to the NICU.
Around 24 hours after birth, the pediatric cardiologist walked in. He essentially said there's some findings with the heart. Total devastation kind of overcame us, I think. And me being naive at the time and not knowing anything about, the heart as much as I do today, I said, well, with medicine or surgery, can it go away? And he basically told us this is going to be a lifetime congenital heart defect that we're going to have to deal with.
He said she needs to be transported immediately to a cardiac ICU. We're preparing the transport team now. I've already called them. They'll be here within the hour, and she needs to get out. They let us into the NICU together, which, they were not letting people do, but they knew that you might not get a chance to see your baby together, to get a family picture with her. We're taking her away in an ambulance. The transport team arrives. We're just crying. We get one picture of the 2 of us. We're both wearing masks. You can't even see our faces. And she's in the hospital bed with all these wires and things all over her face. They put her in an incubator and they take her away.
Because of COVID protocol, they started not letting one parent in. So Lauren would stay with Bryn and I would drop her off and pick her up every day. I just remember those drives and feeling so alone every day because we were dealing with this. The whole world was shut down and we just felt like more than ever we had to deal with it alone.
My first night taking care of her was in a hospital room by myself, a room that I couldn't leave, hearing her cry, not being able to pick her up. I would hold her, but she was attached to all these wires, and it was a whole production to get her in my arms. But that was something I kept asking, can I hold her? Can I change her? Because I wanted to not look at her as a sick baby, but I wanted to look at her as my baby. Eventually, she responded to the medication, and they were very, very encouraged by that. And then after maybe 12 days, they said, okay, actually, we're gonna move her to the step-down unit, which is the next step before being discharged. I was ecstatic.
I think the most devastating thing of this whole ordeal and looking at the diagnosis as it was that there was no surgical cure for it. And that was really hard for me to swallow. For her, we had to rely on medication and play a waiting game.
She doesn't necessarily know there's anything wrong with her. She's only 2. However, in her very limited vocabulary is the word meds.
Without some of those medicines that exist today, I don't think we would be here with Bryn today.
The future is still unwritten for Bryn and for our family. We need to continue researching. We need to continue funding. We need to continue pushing. The American Heart Association, I'm so grateful that they are working every day for families like ours that are fighting against congenital heart defects, that want to finally say one day, my daughter is cured. They need the resources in order to do this. You're not helping nameless, faceless people. You're helping Derek Davis and Lauren Davis and Paige Davis and Bryn Davis and everyone that loves us.